Thank you, candidates.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk jobs and business a little bit here. This is sort of a two-pronged question. Whether I'm talking to Brian Calley, former Lieutenant Governor, now over the Small Business Association, or Sandy Barua, leader of the Detroit Regional Chamber, they're quick to say small business is the backbone of America. What would you do to remove the major roadblocks as you see them for small business in this state? And if elected governor, would you use the power that you have to increase, keep the level the way it is, or decrease the amount of money used to promote tourism in this state? Mr. Kelly.
Tourism is extremely important. Our natural resources are incredible here in the state of Michigan and need to be fully utilized, not only from the DNR side to manage things better and create an environment where people will want to come to the state of Michigan for hunting, for coming and visiting our Great Lakes, absolutely promote more tourism. In regard to jobs and businesses, absolutely small business and mid-sized businesses are the backbone of our economy. All this corporate welfare that we see paying hundreds of millions of dollars to these big companies to come here and set up shop, that puts all of our eggs in one basket. We need to provide an environment with energy first and foremost. I'm big on nuclear energy so that we can have abundant and reliable electricity for businesses and be able to lower the corporate income tax, be able to reduce regulations so that businesses can operate, get rid of all of these corporate income or these COVID restrictions. And then Kevin, too, let's talk a little bit about business with you, with your lawsuits. We'd really like to know how you're going to battle Gretchen Whitmer with those. All
right, you may want to be able to have that in your rebuttal. Mr. Rink?
Mr. Soldano?
Yep, this is Donald. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sure. All right, you'll know my name by the end of it, that's for sure.
I know.
Look, number one, I call it the trifecta. We're competing with the Governor DeSantis of Florida, the Abbotts of Texas, Tennessee, which has taken 11,000 of our jobs with Kentucky and Tennessee. But if you look to those three states, Florida has tourism. Holy cow, can Michigan lead the way with tourism? What better state to come here year-round so we can compete with Florida with tourism? Texas has big oil, right? We have the largest storage capacity for natural gas. We need to start investing into long-term energy-dense solutions. And if we have the investment into natural gas and nuclear here in the future, then we're competing with the Texases of the world. In Tennessee, business-friendly, right? They have low regulations. So we need to cut regulations in the state of Michigan. Also, we have to make sure that no governor can ever weaponize the health department, because who in their right mind would want to come back in the next cold and flu season to open up a business? I have 30 more seconds. It went over. Okay? We have to cut regulations, we have to cut corporate taxes, and we have to invest in a long-term energy-dense solutions, but we have to make sure that no governor can ever do this again, because 3,000 restaurants have shut down permanently because of the draconian, unconstitutional lockdowns of this governor. And as governor, I will make sure I do everything I just told everyone that I was going to do.
All right. All right, Mr. Rinke?
Our business environment, we need to recognize that our business environment is not conducive for people to come to Michigan currently. And it's a byproduct of taxes, it's a byproduct of regulations, it's a byproduct of our educational system failing our kids to provide workers, it's a byproduct of people trying to defund the police and not having safe neighborhoods for businesses and families to move to. I take an approach of creating an environment for everyone to be successful, and that's why I propose eliminating the personal income tax. 9 states didn't have it. If Michigan doesn't have it, what would that do for Michigan? All 9 of those states grew during COVID economically and in population, while Michigan lost 16,000 people. If we create the proper environment for people to come to our state with the beautiful opportunities that we have for sports, we will grow businesses and identify future businesses that will benefit our state.
All right, very good. Ms. Dixon.
Well, I've already proposed a 40% reduction in our regulation by 2024. We have a very overregulated state. It's very hard to do business with. In fact, the bureaucracy of our state is actually going after our small businesses right now. And no matter where I go, I'm told this is a gotcha state. We're sick of being here. And it's true. We need to be a got your back state instead of a gotcha state. Our small businesses have expanded outside of the state of Michigan. And the reason they tell me is that the other states, they want to be in the race with them. These people aren't making money unless they're producing, and they're not producing unless they can start up quickly. It's hard to start a business here in Michigan. It's hard to break ground. It's hard to get permits. It's hard to open up. In other states, it's easier. They want us to be in the race with them, and a Tudor-Dixon administration will be in the race with our small businesses, helping them to thrive.
Mr. Reba.
I've been a small business owner in my past history, and I've employed people, and I know what it's like to develop mission statements, vision statements, budgets, and things like that. But the biggest thing that we have to look at when it comes to creating an environment for business is the fact that we have so much government overreach, and everybody I'm talking to around the state, whether they're farmers, whether they're party store owners, or whether they're dentists, is that we have too much administrative state. And in those administrative state, whether it's OSHA or whether it's the health department, those groups have strangled our small businesses. So my goal in my first 6 months is to have 1,000 administrative state employees retire. So we don't have to deal with so much, and we won't hire them back. We're going to have them retire so that we can have a freer economy and less government overreach.
All right, I saw a sign for 2 rebuttals, Mr. Sedano and then Ms. Dixon.
Mrs. Dixon, you said that you wanted a 40% reduction in regulations, and bureaucracy was going after our small businesses. So my question to you then is this. When this was happening 2 years and 3 months ago, when Governor Whitmer was ruling unconstitutionally with her draconian lockdowns, where were you at the front with the rest of us while we were pushing back against this? I haven't seen you at any of the protest or rallies. I did not see you go out and sign or circulate the Unlock Michigan petition to take away that 1945 law. And I didn't see you in November of 2020, in December of 2020, when she shut down the restaurants again to 25% capacity.
Ms. Dixon.
You must have missed me at Marlena's. You must have missed
That was
me
in
out
March of
there
2021.
speaking.
All right, let's let Ms. Dixon reply.
You must have missed me out there on the air also talking about this and making sure there was a national audience. But I
Your
want to talk
podcast?
about tourism. I want to talk about tourism because you mentioned tourism, and
Yes, I
I think
did.
that this is so important because if we look at the no income tax and the low income tax states, they have their guests pay for their people not to have an income tax. So we would like to invite guests to Michigan and make sure that money is going back into the pockets of Michiganders. But we have to invest in tourism, and we have to make sure that people
Time.
are looking at the state of Michigan as a place to vacation.
All right, very good. See a rebuttal from Mr. Rinke.
Yeah. The quickest way to generate businesses in the state is to identify opportunities and to create an environment for those people to come here. It's tax, it's regulatory, and income taxes are prohibitive. You cannot argue the fact that states with no income tax were more successful, and that's an element. We would be the only state in the Midwest, and that would be very, very appealing for people to come to Michigan.
All right, thank you very much. Jeff?
I got one too.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead,
go
yeah.
ahead.
So Kevin, you never addressed the fact, we definitely want to know with the 2 lawsuits that you have for the companies in the early 90s that you were running with racial slurs that were used and sexual harassment, and you settled those cases versus fighting those cases to clear your name.
Oh,
So Whitmer is going to be using those against you. We'd really like to know how you're going to address that. And Tudor, the reason that you weren't there is because you weren't there to fight when the fight was happening. You're stepping in the ring. You too as well, Kevin. We need a fighter for Michigan's next governor.
Time. Mr. Rinke, I see
Let's
you
address the lawsuits.
your rebuttal.
I fought the lawsuits because they weren't true. They didn't define me then, and they don't define who I am now. I've had hundreds of thousands of employees that have been very, very happy. But the settlement, the people who sued me got nothing. They had to sign the $5,000 stipend after suing me for 3 years over to their attorney, and they're the ones that asked to settle, and they're the ones that walked away. That's the truth, Ryan, and that's how I'm going to fight Gretchen Whitmer with it,
Time.
because it's a dead deal.
Time. Ms. Dixon, did I see a rebuttal from you?
No.
No, okay, just want to make sure.